welcome everybody back to the TuVues podcast, where we talk about a variety of topics focused on uplifting society. It's two different viewpoints coming from two identical faces. I'm Dr. Keith, and on the other side, I got Kev G. I got Kev G on the other side. Holla at him, bro.
What up with y'all? Y'all know what it is. Y'all know what time it is. This one gonna be an interesting one. Like, well, I need to stop saying interesting. I say interesting about every topic we do, man. Let me stop saying interesting. It's gonna be a good one, man. Gonna be a good one, man. Hopefully this one will spur. We'll tell more about it, but it's gonna be a good one, man. And I'm glad to be back with y'all doing this with my brother, man. It makes me happy, gives me joy, protects my peace. So glad to be here, man.
Y'all know we one of our big things on this podcast, we talk about men's health. It's Men's Health Month, man. Make sure y'all going to get the medical checkups. You regulating your mind, doing whatever you gotta do to get counseling, whatever you need for every thoughts you have or any issues maybe having there. But make sure we're taking care of bodies this month, fellas. If you have not set up for a yearly physical, do that. If you not have done your other physicals, for those of you who are of age, those prostate exams, those colonoscopies, get them done. This is the month we want to get that stuff done and make sure that we are living a long time for our families.
Yeah, man. Like, especially if you got kids, man. That's one big thing for me. Is always doing what I need to do to be healthy for my son to be here for a long time. Nobody knows when they're gonna go, but as long as I can control that, I will. You know.
That's right. So do what you gotta do, fellas. We out here.
Yes, sir. But, man.
Y'all know what it is. It is time for Kev G's Top 5.
I'm glad you stopped with that. You all loud in the mic, old muffin man head. Anyway, man, here we go. Today's top 5, man. We old. We're not old, but old enough, right? So we gonna do this. This top 5 is gonna be top 5 '90s cartoons. Top 5 '90s cartoons. I went first last time. You got to roll with this one first. You got to go first.
Yeah, let's roll with it. So I'm gonna start with my honorable mentions, and you're gonna think I'm crazy with my honorable mentions, but I gotta do my first honorable mention. I gotta do as a group. I gotta go with '90s anime, right? And that's Dragon Ball Z, Ronin Warriors, Gundam. And the reason why I gotta put that as honorable mention, not because they're not my greatest. So my favorite cartoon of all time is going to be Dragon Ball Z, but I think they're products of the '80s. So I got kind of like got a disclaimer for them. So right, so I'm gonna say you talking about '90s anime. Even though if we were at them, Dragon Ball Z would be my top one. And then I got Doug and Darkwing Duck. Those are my 3 honorable mentions. I got '90s anime, Doug, and Darkwing Duck.
It ain't supposed to be 2.
Okay, I'm gonna take '90s anime.
No, you
Doug.
Already said it now. You already said it now. Like,
all right. So let's go. My 5, and you're gonna think I'm crazy with this. And a lot of people out there ain't gonna remember this show. The PJs. The PJs is my number 5 cartoon of all time. Yeah, I said it. Yep, the PJs. That's my show.
PJ is a legit cartoon. One of the funniest. First of all, it's not really a cartoon. Secondly, ain't no way out of all the cartoons in the '90s, PJ's in your top 5.
My top 5, bro.
You could have put those 3 you had in your honorable mention are better than PJ's.
Nah, bro. Nah.
Keep going, bro.
Okay, I'm gonna keep going. Stop hating on me. Number 4, you're gonna think I'm crazy again. Beast Wars. My number 4 is gonna be Beast Wars. We talking about '90s, right?
Talking about Transformers?
Yeah.
So you went and saw the movie, and now that's one of your top 5. Man,
no, Beast Wars. Man. Beast Wars is always one of my favorite things to watch on TV. Number 3, Spider-Man, the animated series. Spider-Man is gonna be my number 3. My number 2 gonna be The Simpsons. Simpsons is gonna be my number 2, and my number 1 cartoon of the '90s is X-Men. X-Men is the number 1 cartoon of the '90s.
I forgot about X-Men.
My number 1 cartoon of the '90s, X-Men.
Besides your number 1, your list is trash. Besides your number 1, your list is absolute
Spider-Man
trash.
Spider-Man, Simpsons,
again.
Come on, bro.
Simpsons here. Your list is absolute trash. You got PJs over Doug, Gundam, and Dragon '90s anime. What was your other one?
Hear me out, Darkwing Duck. Hear me out, bro. The 90s animes will be in my top 5. All 3 of those will be somewhere in my top 5. But since they're products of the 80s, I didn't add them.
No matter how you explain it, it's trash.
Come on, bro. Get to your list, man. Get to your list, man.
Man, let me get to my 2 honorable mentions. Here we go, man. My first one, man, is gonna be Doug. I think Doug's honorable mention. It was a legit cartoon. My second one gonna be Rescue Rangers. How you not have Rescue Rangers in your 90s cartoons? Rescue Rangers, bro. Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, bro.
Over Darkwing Duck?
You know what else I forgot as honorable mention? Inspector Gadget.
No, man. He had the dog doing all the work. No, man. I don't mess with Inspector Gadget. The dog was doing all the work.
You know you watch Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, bro.
I did, but it ain't honorable mention for me. It's good, but
let me go to my 5. DuckTales. DuckTales is gonna be my 5. DuckTales. Ooh. Yes.
Bro, come on. You could have put the Tiny Toon Adventures over DuckTales.
No, don't worry. Here we go. Tiny Toon, that would be a good one. My number 4, you gonna hate. My number 4, you gonna hate.
What?
No. Recess.
Hey, man. Podcast over, bro.
Hey,
podcast over, bro. Podcast over, bro.
Saturday morning, turn on Recess,
yeah,
bro.
Man, but come on, in your top 5, bro.
The kindergarten was G's, man.
But in your top 5, bro.
Yep. Number 3, Rugrats.
No.
Rugrats.
That's because you look like Cynthia.
I'm gonna roast your and Wayne look like pork chop. Hey, here we go, man. My number 2, Animaniacs. All of them. Animaniacs, the whole show. Pinky and the Brain. All of them. The whole show. Animaniacs.
That's your 2?
No. That's my 2.
That shouldn't be in your top 10.
Okay. This man lost his mind. I forgot about X-Men, though. That probably would have been in there. And then my number 1, of course, is Simpsons. Simpsons is the longest running. It's probably not considered. Didn't it start in the 90s or the 80s? I don't know. It's the longest running show. Period. Period.
Yep. Yes, I know Simpsons got to be in your top 2.
I know everybody hated. People don't care about it because some of the content and all that stuff. But hey, man, they predicted the future quite a few times. They predicted Donald Trump was going to become president.
Yep. Hey, man, who your favorite character on The Simpsons, though?
Grandpa, man.
All day.
The best character on there is Grandpa, man. By far.
He need more scenes, man. He need more scenes.
This man was riding around in a car, and he said, there's a lot of ugly people in this town. Ooh, look at that one. Man, when I saw that scene, man, I was crying. Grandpa is by far the funniest character on The Simpsons.
Yeah, I agree with that one. Who would be
second, though? I don't know who would be second, though. I'll go with Ned Flanders. I don't know why he is funny to me.
No, man. Homer the second funniest.
Probably Homer.
Especially on the movie when he did the Spider Pig, man. That's the funniest scene ever.
That's my top 5, man. I'm running with, man, DuckTales, Recess, Rugrats, Animaniacs, Simpsons.
Okay, your list was trash too, though.
Perfect list. Perfect list.
Without X-Men.
I forgot about X-Men, bro. I actually just started watching that on what's it on now? Man, Disney Plus.
Man, I could put something that's better than that, man. You got what's the one with the sharks that used to always be fighting?
Shark Tales, ain't it? Shark.
No.
It was Shark Tales.
No, one of them was on skates. It wasn't on Shark Tales. Shark Tales, that movie. Man, it's way more. Man, it's way better cartoons than the ones you picked, bro.
Bro, I think it's called Shark Tales.
Ain't called Shark Tales, bro.
It might not be. That's what I thought it was called. But
yeah,
you
bro.
can pick Biker Mice from Mars.
Man, Bucky
was
O'Hare. Bucky O'Hare.
Tragedy.
You know, one show people don't remember, bro. I don't know if you remember this. You remember it was a cartoon where Michael Jordan, Wayne Gretzky, and Bo Jackson were superheroes.
Oh, they're superheroes. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, people don't remember that show. That was another decent one. They don't last for one season though. Yeah,
we could do Mask.
Was 80s.
That was good.
Mask was 80s, late 80s. Yeah.
That Transformers, G.I. Joe, those all started in the 80s.
Yeah, late 80s. Yeah.
Cool.
There you have it,
one
man.
Good list.
Terrible.
One good list and one trash list.
If you say so, bro. You have X-Men. That's all that matters to me.
Yeah. Here we go, man. This is probably becoming a favorite segment on a show as of now. I don't know why. These stupid things. So we got, man, Dr. Davis's dad jokes, man. Let's see what Burrow got.
All right, man, Kev. All right,
let's
bro.
Go.
So, man, I was at this award ceremony, man, and these actors was going up for the best actor, and they gave it to the Scarecrow, man. Scarecrow. You wanna know why?
Why?
They said he was outstanding in his field. Yeah, buddy. Hold on, man. I'm just saying, bro.
That was stupid. That was stupid.
I don't know, man. Let's see if I got one more for you, man. So I bought these peppers, man, from the store. They got out, man. They were shooting. They were shooting. You know, they were great archers, man. They was just hitting the bullseye, like just hitting the bullseye. These peppers. I figured out why. Because they was habanero.
Keith, that may have been the worst one you've ever told.
Hey, how about? Oh, this is my last one. My last one, bro. Okay, all right, here we go. You ever wonder why pirates are called pirates? Why pirates are called pirates? You ever wonder
why?
No, I don't know either. They just Hey, all right, bro. I'm done. I'm here all night, everybody. I'm here all night.
Oh, man. Bro, man, that's just dumb, man.
Hey, man, I'm here all night, man. I'm here all night.
That was trash. I don't know why this become the favorite segment, man.
I don't know, man. I'm here all night. I'm taking this thing on the road. Taking this thing on the road.
Don't do that. Don't do that. You're going to get booed. I'm going to be at every show to boo you. Boo. Boo this man. Every show.
Oh, man. That's it. That's it for me, man. And my jokes, man. I'm here all night.
Hey, man, like we tell you all the time, man. Comment, man. Tell us what y'all think about them. Top 5 dad jokes. Give your top 5. What you think about the dad jokes, man? Did you think that was funny? That sack, when that habanero one was a stretch, boy. That was a stretch. 9th inning, yeah. I was just
they great because they haven't habanero. Come on, man. Give me that one, bro. Give me that one, man.
I will not. I absolutely will not. All right, man. We like I said, man, reach out to us, hit us up. We like hearing from y'all, man. Real talk. It's real talk. Like hearing from y'all. But man, you know how we you know how we do this though, bro. We have topics that stimulate the mind a little bit, and it's gonna start from where this topic came from, man. So not in too much detail, but me and Keith had a spirited debate this weekend, and that's what and people understand why this show is called Two Views, and you're gonna find out why. Because sometimes we don't agree. Sometimes we
Mm-hmm.
don't agree. Sometimes um and it creates that debate and it creates that dialogue. But I think on this one I actually got him to come around to
Yep, you got me.
iPad. Got him come around to my thinking. And I guarantee you a lot of y'all out there probably not gonna agree with my thinking, but wait till you hear the end of this and you might. So today we're gonna talk about the breakup, the makeup, and closure. Let me say that again. The breakup, the makeup, and closure. So what
Breaking up is hard enough. Oh, she said
who
you
this
had
man?
nothing, but I called your bluff. She took my sweater, my hat. I can't find my cat. The hardest part
Meow.
of breaking up is getting back your stuff.
Okay, enough with that trash. So man, for real, we're gonna talk about um how we deal with breakups, how we make up, and closure. And the question about closure is it necessary? Is closure necessary? So breaking up with people. So like the song go, keep just saying, man, breaking up is hard. It's hard. We ain't got to go back to history breakup because it's an everyday thing. Some people
Yeah.
take it hard. Some people don't know how to do it. Some people do it totally wrong and out of left field. Sometimes it's a surprise. Sometimes it's not. That whole surprise thing, I got my own opinion about that, but we'll get into that
Mm-hmm.
later. But so thinking back on your breakups, now however far you want to go, however which one you're gonna think about. First, let's talk about: have you ever broken up with someone? Have you ever broken up with someone? Let's start there.
Yeah. And I've broken up with someone. Um, and what I got out of that process, Kev, is breaking up with someone can be a very selfish process, right? It can be
Absolutely.
very selfish in a way where a lot of times the emotion of the other person isn't taken into consideration. And I look back on those moments and I didn't. It was about my wants, not even needs, my wants, where I wanted to go, what I wanted to pursue. Um and I was willing to go after that at the detriment of the feelings of the person who I was breaking up with, because I just wanted to be alleviated from that situation and didn't really care, like wasn't really tactful on how I did it. You know what I mean? It's a very selfish process. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's not a process that you need to go through or think that or something that you need to do. Um, but it's about the tact in which we go about it. And I think that's where I failed in breakups, with that I was on the distributing end, is that I didn't take in the feelings of the other person when I presented what I wanted. Right, so it became very selfish. When done right, it can you can mitigate a lot of things we're going to be talking about today, but a lot of times it's a very selfish process.
So as you know about me, I didn't date a lot growing up, right? I didn't date a lot,
Yeah.
and people might not believe this. I was real shy when it came to that aspect of things, and like I started to get big into my sports training and that type of side. So I
Self.
didn't really date. Yeah, I really didn't date much growing up. Um, but this is what I learned about me when it came to I've never broken up with anybody, right? As far as relationships, or as far as like if I was in a committed relationship with somebody, I don't think I've ever broken up with anybody. But anybody that I had interaction with per se, this is how I quote unquote broke up or ended it, right? Is I'm a ghoster, right? I'm a ghoster, I would say, right? I just stopped communicating. I stopped interacting. I don't really say, "Oh, this is not going to work for me," and try to do it the right way. I just stop. talking, right? It's just a natural thing for me. I'm not a big talker anyway. So I just stopped talking to him, stopped associating with him, stopped answering messages, calls, whatever. And that's a terrible way to break up, right? Terrible way to break up. But once again, I don't consider mine breakups because I never, like I said, I never broke with anybody because I never was in true any commit. Let me. That's a lie. That's a lie. I have
Yeah, yeah.
once I have, but that's a whole different story. There's a reason why that breakup happened is because that
I already know
relationship
what
was
it is.
a little more, on the abusive side, right? So and not on my part. But still in that same relationship, I didn't tell her it's over. I didn't end it right and blah blah. Bro, I pretty much just started ghosting. Stop not
But
responding, separate myself. Like I just start ghosting.
But bro, ain't that a form of breaking up, right? Because I'm gonna put these in
Mm-hmm.
categories, right? So you have breaking up the right way, saying, "Hey, let's sit down, let's talk about this. This is where my feelings are." Doing it the right way. Then you have just purging and saying, "I don't want to be with you no more," and snapping out. Then you have the ghosting, but I give you a fourth one: sabotaging the relationship. I think those two that so your ghosting and sabotaging, I think they are elements of breaking up. But you don't want to be you so selfish of a person, not you in particular, but the person who's doing it is
Oh,
so
I was.
selfish in their thinking, right? It's so selfish in their thinking to where they don't want to be the one to cause the ruckus in the breakup. They want the other person to be able to do it so they can feel vindicated. Like, I'm not the one that did it. But I think you sabotaging and ghosting are still forms of breakup. They're just even. I think you have the right way, and you have three selfish ways, right?
Yeah.
And I just
But you
think it's one of the selfish ways.
you said the right way. Is there really a right way, right? You can
I'm
say
glad you said that.
yes.
Probably not.
You
Probably
can say
not.
yes, but is there really a right way? I would challenge it and say there's really not a way to break up. There's not a right way, but there are wrong ways, right? There's not a right way, there are wrong ways though. And there's
Hmm.
some ways that are just like they are what they are. But breakups are hard regardless if you on it. Sometimes even breaking up is tough for you as just as hard as it is being somebody breaking up with you. But that's where I like me for me. I was a sabotager ghoster. But that was like one relationship, right? Any other time that I've been separated from a mate, they bounced on me, right? So let's switch
Hmm.
flip to that. Like
Well,
we
but really,
both have been. Go ahead.
just real quick before you flip to that, I think one thing people got to understand when they going through the breakup process is that a lot of people think you're cutting just the one string, the relationship string, off, right? That, but you're snipping all those strings at one time, and that's very traumatic for the other person. And that's why I keep bringing up the selfish piece is because we don't when we do that we don't take into account we don't take in the thought the effect that quick sudden cutting of every single connection, what that does to the other person. So I'll let you jump to the other piece though.
No, the other piece is pretty simple. It's like being someone breaking up with you.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you've been through situations with somebody breaking up with us. Even, but the situation is um, not just. And let me dial back a minute. Right now, we're mentioning a lot of relational stuff, right? Like being in
Mm-hmm.
a intimate relationship. But we want to make this thing broader, not just the intimate relationships, but just breaking up with anything or anyone, family
Mm-hmm.
members, anybody where you had to disconnect with and you separated from. So don't think it is just as a topic on just relational intimacy, breakups, makeups, closure.
Mm-hmm.
This is all inclusive, but being broken up with, like divorce, which I've been through and you're dealing with, and not just that, but like breakups with boyfriend, girlfriend, separation of family. When you've ever
Jobs.
been jobs, whenever you've been broken up with, how did you take it? Like what matter of fact, what was the first thing you thought of when somebody said they no longer wanted to be with you in the way that you wanted, or something was never going to align with the way that you wanted?
I'm gonna tell you because I experienced this not only in relationship but with jobs, with friendships, um, and you know, well, I want people to understand that a breakup is traumatic. It's a traumatic event, whether you feel like it's small or big. It's still a traumatic event. But I'm gonna tell you the first thing that came to me in this cycle, man, Kev, was ego. Ego hit me like a ton of bricks. Job. I put everything into this job. I did this. I did that. This is what I like. It became about it, ego was the first thing to hit for me in every situation. That heartbreak like ignited a level of ego in me that you wouldn't have got any otherwise. Because I'm a very humble person, right? But the breakup turned me into a person where this is me. I'm Keith. Like this is what I do. This is what I bring. This is what I brought. So the first thing that hit me was ego, right? And then the depression and sadness came. Because you have that thought of as a man you weren't able to fulfill a manly duty or manly expectations or a significant thing that you were supposed to be able to accomplish. So for me, it was ego and then the sadness because I wasn't able to accomplish something or see something through. But that ego hit like a ton of bricks for the first couple of days. Ego hit you like a ton of bricks.
Yeah. Here where the TuVues part come in, right? So what he just said, there was his ego and then the sadness and depression. Mine is the exact opposite. The exact
Hmm.
opposite. The sadness and depression hit me first, right? That's like, man, what's going on? Because anybody know anything about me, I love hard, right? So if you love hard, whether you mess up at all, like I've messed up, um, that doesn't mean I don't love hard. So I love super hard, right? And so when something ends or something, whether that's a job or relationship, when it ends, it hurts, man. Like it hurts. It's hurt deeply because like I wear my heart on my sleeve, and it's just something that when I'm passionate about it, I'm passionate about it. I'm passionate about a person. I'm passionate about them, and when that leaves, it tears a hole in me, right? And that sadness and depression hit hard and fast, and the teeth chattering, and can't go to sleep because you're wondering and thinking, and like all that hits me then. But then once I get over that, now my ego come in. Like I, like I'm just like why like you know what I mean? My ego, like I'm the thing, like it ain't just me, it's you too. And like that's when all that kick in and when all that sadness disappears now. Because what happens once the sadness funnels out, um, I don't want to say hate comes in, but the anger drops. The anger
Mm-hmm.
drops in, which ignites the ego. And so that's where I come in, go from sadness and depression, and my anger and my ego is ignited, and then I get angry, but then I eventually level out to this whole thing we're gonna talk about with closure. Um, but yeah, it's the exact opposite
So
for me.
and I'm glad you mentioned how it's opposite for you, and that just proves to you that all twins don't do everything alike. We don't think we do a lot of stuff alike, but not only with us being identical but different. I think what you stating about us being on different, this affecting us differently, is speaks to something greater, and that is that the cycle of 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 this cycle of grief that you go through, you can start at any point on that cycle, right? Like I start with the ego because I'm like me. Like you start with the sadness and depression. Some people may start with the anger. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like it is dependent on the person where they began the stages of grief. It's this is an individual process for everybody. I think we all go through some point of those stages at some point in that breakup or that area of loss, whether that's a job, a family member, whatever it is, a relationship. We all go through that cycle, but we may start the cycle at different areas. right? We like Kevin may go from sadness, depression to ego. I may go from ego to sadness, depression. The other person may go from anger to grief. It's all this all dependent on the person. But for me, it was like I've done everything. I'm doing everything. And that's where it started for me. But for you, for the viewers, your place on that cycle can start anywhere. So I just want to make that clear that you know that you don't necessarily have to start in the same place, and that but it is all a cycle, various stages for us that we need to get through.
And I think we're gonna tie this all back when we get to closer. It's going to all this ego and all anger. It'll tie back into our discussion about closure. But let's talk about with breakups. Many times you can make up, right? Many times you can make up. Many times you can reconcile. But how does that look for everybody? That looks different depending on the situation, depending on what happened, what caused it. It could be cheating. It could be just we drifted apart. I don't like this. Well, did you do this? I don't like that you do that. Or a job. I need you to be better at this point. I need you to get more education. Or a family member. I loaned you this money. You to give it back. I hate you now. You know what I mean? Breakups can come from different angles, right? But many times they can be reconciled. Not all times. Many times they can be reconciled and fixed. And it's all about learning how to recognize the issue and know how to fix those things based on not just your feelings, but how the other how the other let me flip that around. Not just about the other person's feelings, but your feelings also. I think that's where things get missed a little bit. But when it comes to makeup, like what would you tell people if they want to reconcile a relationship, regardless of what that is? What would be the first step in that process?
I think you have to first evaluate yourself, so when you go into that discussion, that you don't come in with the answers already. I think the one problem with reconciling is that
Whew.
we tend to come in with the answers already. First, I'll talk about my me and my ex-wife, and we would get into whatever spat we would have. And I had a saying that I stole from a battle rapper. What's his name? The one that I'll be preaching. What's
Sue,
his
not
name?
Sue.
No,
I know you're talking about. Yeah.
but he used to always say, "You about to get this work." And that was my mindset going. I'm like, oh, and what we start doing is we start cataloging everything that the other person did, mentally cataloging it, and we come into a discussion that we want to lead to reconciliation with a script, a dialogue script of what we want to make sure they know that they did to us. I think that's the biggest failure of reconciliation, is not saying, okay, let's go in and say, this is what we're going to do. We're going to listen to one another. All right? You're going to share. I'm going to acknowledge what you shared, repeat it back to you and acknowledge it, and then I'm going to share. But so often we be already ready with our firepower, with our bullets, ready to rebuttal, right? Um, we're the ultimate battle rappers when it comes to reconciliation, because we already know you finna get this work. You finna get this work. I already got my written down. And so I think that's the biggest thing, is that you have to go into reconciliation um, with knowing that there's going to be some things that's going to be hard for you to hear. It's going to be some things that you're not going to want to accept. Um, that you're going to have to hold your tongue, even if you feel like you're being wrong, or what the person saying is not right. And that is hard when your ego is involved. So you have to check your ego and come into reconciliation knowing that, hey, this is to make this work, it's going to um be for it's important for me to listen. However, a lot of people reconcile, when they reconcile for reasons that is not healthy. And I'm just going to be very clear. Reconciling for the sake of the kids is not healthy. Reconciling for the sake of the of intimacy connection is not healthy. Um, you have to reconcile for you too, and the mental health of yourself, right? Because I can tell you right now, a lot of times when we reconcile, and people may disagree with this, and we reconcile for someone else and not for that relationship, it is doomed to fail again. Right? It is doomed to fail again if we're not reconciling and dealing with the issues of that particular relationship, or only reconciling because of something else outside of that. Now I say outside, but not that is something that's indirectly connected to the relationship. Then it's liable to have that problem to that problem is liable to happen again. And so you have to come in saying we are reconciling for us and the healthiness of this relationship or this position. It can be any outside influence on that, because if not, that's going to be the foundation of your reconciliation, which then become the foundation of your relationship at that point, right? And so and that's make it difficult. And so I just think you have to come in with a mental mindset to want to listen and and want to be willing to hear stuff you don't want to hear, right? You ain't going to hear it, but you got to be willing to listen to it. You may not agree with it, but you got to be willing to listen to it. All right, that's where it starts, and you can work it out from there.
Yep. For me, I would say the first step in a relation, reconciling or making up, is to shut up.
Yep. Be
Shut
quiet.
up. Just shut up. If you're the one that needs the reconciling, then shut up. Now,
Mm-hmm.
to the person on the other side, once that person shuts up and listens, now it's your turn to shut up. Why am I saying that? Because you feel a certain way and this thing ended and you feel a certain way, the other person has feelings too, right? They have
Mm-hmm.
they probably feel a certain way too. They probably have things about the situation that they want to discuss. You can't dump everything on a person and expect them to change and do things the right way without them saying, "Okay, I got it. I hear you.
Mm-hmm.
Now let me say what I think and feel on my side." Now we can now if you can resolve things on both sides, if there's something to resolve on both sides, first and foremost. If there ain't, and this person was just an a-hole and did you bogus, that's a whole nother story. But if there's reconciling needs on both sides, both have to learn to shut up. At some point
Mm-hmm.
in time in the conversation, you're going to have to be quiet. You don't have to rebuttal everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's one of my pet peeves. You
Mine
want me
too.
to do something or be something or do something or change something, but as soon as I want the same thing, it's a rebuttal or something else, right? Like
But
I get
you.
that I get that I messed up. I get that I did something wrong. I totally get it, and I will work my butt off to fix this thing and get it right on my side. But during this same relationship, can I tell you some things on my side that actually bother me? And some people like, no, no, no. You cause this. You cause this.
That's
If
unhealthy.
it's unhealthy. If that happens, there is there's no point in reconciling. If you're not willing to open up and reconcile on in totality, there is no point. Because guess what? You're gonna get back to the same point eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Because if that person can't voice that their unhappiness in the situation, it's not fixed. The dick
Mm-hmm.
is just not fixed. The you put a little super glue on it. You know what I mean? But it's not as strong as it used to be. The point is sometimes in a relationship, you can't put super glue on it. You gotta replace the whole thing. Sometimes you
Yep.
gotta that thing
You
has to
preaching now.
totally be revamped. Right? You can't just super glue it anymore. And that's one thing with the whole super glue scenario concept. Like, yeah, you have scars and things from the things that happen. Um, but if you decide to continue, um, and you make that decision together, there's work to be done to get it back together. But you have to be willing to say, I accepted that this was wrong, and then be like, okay, I want to go full throttle forward. I want to take it all things, change things up, change scenery. If I want to get this thing right, you got to be willing to do that. So making up um making up is harder than breaking up. Right? Making up is harder than breaking up. It takes time. It takes a little more time. It takes a little more commitment. It takes understanding, and it takes taking you to know to shut up.
Okay.
Just shut up.
I want to share one thing about what you just said about the fixing it, replacing it, the super gluing it, and then I want to go back to another thing we talking about shutting up. But when Kevin says, you got to understand if it can be put back together or it needs to be replaced. But then I also think there's another piece. I think some things could be broken down and remolded. Right? You can make it new using the same material if it's good material, right? You can remold clay, right? You can reform glass, right?
Gold is
But
refined in fire.
so I think you got to figure out where you at with your reconciliation. Is it something that we can patch up, that we can just it's going to be like new just to patch it up, or we need to replace it, or we need to remold it? I think that discussion also has to happen within reconciliation. But if I can give couples, and this is of couples directly to couples, or situations, relational situations, even friendships. If you're going to reconcile, I think you need to understand two things. The first thing is, when you're presenting another person is listening, it is not the time to throw darts. That is counterproductive, because you're creating the opportunity for that person to get upset and want to rebuttal, and it takes away from their ability to listen. That's why go with the I feel state. It's not you did this, it's more I feel, or this is what I like, so they can understand the effect that it had on you, not an attack on them, because it makes it less likely for that person to listen. So it is not a time to go and attack and throw darts at the person. It is a time to really share how whatever happened affected you. Right. And the second thing, and this is one of my pet peeves, Kev, we talk about pet peeves when it comes to the reconciliation discussions, take the but you out of your discussion. But you, baby, I feel like this. I feel like when this happened, you did, but you did this. Take the but you out. Right. Take it completely out. Right. What you should put in there is nothing. You should let them share. Shut up, like Evan said. Shut up. Let them share. Okay, I understand how you're feeling. This is what I hear you saying. Right. Now I would like to share that I feel this is how I felt during that moment. But the term but you, or comparing a person, another person's trauma or issue to yours, is counterproductive. It becomes a battle, the battle of whose was the worst. All right, take the but you out, and it is not a time to throw darts. That's when to say that point.
Yeah, absolutely. And I learned in therapy, only use I statements. That's taking that but you out, right? Only use I statements.
Mm-hmm.
You only use I statements. I feel this way. I feel this. I blah blah blah. You always use I statements. Never use statements. Because never use a you statement. You're like you're blaming. It's a
Mm-hmm.
blame tactic. So
Yeah.
you only use I statements. But let's get them to the meat of what we want to talk about today, though. So this weekend, he had a little situation. If he want to talk about it, he can. I'm not gonna talk about it. But matter of fact, I'm gonna let you lead it off with a synopsis of what happened.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna go deep into it, but I had a conversation this past weekend, um, that was very, that brought up some trauma, that brought up a situation that I would prefer, if I could. No, I know I can't, never to relive again. Um, and we, in this situation, the trauma wore on me, but I think it was an opportunity for me to share. I took it as an opportunity for me to share how the situation affected me, and how it almost took me out. Um, And I took it as, here's my opportunity, the opportunity to let this person know how I felt or how it affected me or what it did to me. And for me, I was talking to Kevin, Amanda, Nisha about it, and it was like, I got closure. It was about getting closure that I felt good about. I was able to share with that person that this is how that affected me, and that I got, that was enough to get closure about from that person. And I don't want to go to where I ended up, because I think we're going to get. I'll share later where I ended up in this whole situation as far as what it what I came out to and determine. But for me, it was like I needed that closure at that time. Put it this way: at that date and time, at that period, I needed that closure. I needed, I didn't have an opportunity for that person to know the effect that it had on me, and I needed that closure. And so that's what sparked this topic.
And so what really sparked the topic is just Keith's need for closure. And what also sparked this topic is if I could say it, the response from, I'm not gonna know nothing detailed, but the response from the other person. Mm-hmm. Right. And that's what, so the response from the other person got me hot, right? And then Keith was like, oh, I got a release because I was closure. And so my statement was, closure for, why do you need closure? Why do we as people think we need closure? Why is closure so important to people? Keith said he needed it. I'm saying, call me an evil twin if you want. You don't need closure. People think they need this thing called closure.
Let's get it right. You said you need no effing closure.
I did.
You need no effing closure.
You don't. Like, I feel like people, this thing called closure, right? You hear all the time, like, I need to get closure with this. Like, it made me feel so much better if I could just tell them how I feel and tell them what they did to me and what was wrong. And I get what you're saying, right? But this is the question I try to ask. Is this for you? Or is this for them? For you to come at this? Like, what is it for? What is it for? What is the purpose of it? Oh, I think if I tell them, it's going to be this weight off my shoulder and I'm going to feel so much better. Or if I tell them, they'll know exactly how I feel. You see the two differences there? If I tell them, it's going to be a weight off me. Or if I tell them, they're going to know how I feel and they're going to see how they did me wrong. See, people go two different ways with this closure thing. And I'm saying, you don't need closure. And do you want me to keep going so I'll go in depth to why I feel this way?
Go, and then I'll tell you where I ended. I'll get into where I ended up on the whole thing.
So this is why I feel this way on closure. Think back on any time you split up with somebody or separated from somebody. Think about the argument. Think about the message. Maybe they didn't even tell you. They just ghosted you. Or sabotaged. If I look back at every relationship that I've ever had, I can pinpoint the good things about it. But guess what? I can also pinpoint the bad things about it. The things that irk me. The things about me that probably irk them. All this stuff, I can go back and probably pinpoint all of it. Why am I saying that? For those people that say, I need to get this, or tell you how they did me wrong. Guess what, people? They already know. They already know.
Facts.
Go the other way. Go the other way. It'd be so much weight off my shoulder if you're spending all this time waiting to get closure with this person who has moved on and doing what they want to do, but you're carrying this bag, this luggage, this weight around with you, just because you want to just dump it out on them. This is how you made me feel. You're carrying all this extra weight for what? They're moved on. They're living their life. they're doing their thing. If you look back in your relationship, you can see where things start turning left and turning right. You don't need to tell them how you felt, because guess what? I promise you, they already know. They know you, you know them. Situation same with jobs. You don't need to tell a job this what you did to me. Job, first of all, job don't care. Family members, you can tell them you did this to me, you did that to me. They already know. If you let them borrow $100 and they didn't pay you back, this is why we fell out, because you didn't. They already know. But you carry around this baggage for 10 years. This hate. Why they all walking around living their life. You don't need closure. What you need is peace within yourself. Protect your peace. Peace within yourself. This situation ended. It is what it is. It happened. Let me move forward. Whether that's a therapy session, whether you need to vent to somebody, right? That's okay if you need to vent to somebody. It doesn't have to be that person. Because all you're doing is giving them attention. You're giving them, oh, look at them. They still want me. They still think about me. I'm still on their mind. I'm big on closing doors. My mom used to hate when we left stuff lights on. I learned I'm big on turning the lights off and closing doors. I don't want no whooping. Same thing with this relationship stuff. Closure isn't needed. Close the doors, turn off the lights, move forward. As long as you carry that weight, that bag, and feel like I need to get this off, I need to tell them this. You don't need closure. Go ahead, bro.
You're also, I'm gonna say before I get into my part, you're also threatening the chance of opening up an old wound. Right? You're threatening the chance of opening up a old wound. And so I'm going to say this because it was, I think it was 301 for a while. Kevin was standing his ground in the discussion. And then so the
Hard.
next day,
Hold on.
y'all,
You know, hold on. You know why I was standing my ground, man? Sometimes when you believe something so much, you're so passionate about it, you fight.
right.
Like I wasn't letting that
Yeah.
go. I wasn't letting it go.
Yeah. And so the next day, yeah, for one thing, y'all gotta understand, me and Kevin are so competitive against each other that it's very hard for us to admit anything to each other. If one was right and somebody was wrong. And I literally had to call Kevin the next day and was like, bro, you were right. You were absolutely right. Because what I found out is the closure that I needed or wanted was nothing but purging. I just want to purge and for you to feel the pain that you made me feel. Right?
Exactly.
This wasn't about, I need you to know so I can close this chapter. Had nothing to do with it. Oh, you need to know how you made me feel. That and so what happened though, the reason why it became very important, I had to text Kevin and tell him this. And of course he called me to rub it in. But the reason why I had to text him and tell him this is because not only did I understand that it was purging at that point, that I was just purging to get off my chest. But what I did was I opened up a wound that was already closing, and the thoughts of what happened took over my mind. It encompassed my thoughts. I start thinking about it again. I start thinking about the what ifs, what happened, the past, it encompassed my thoughts for a majority of that next day. So I opened up a wound that I had already that was already closing, which created more pain and grief for me. So I didn't need that closure. I just wanted that person to feel how I felt. And then I started to realize, Kev, my closure should have came when I forgave. The closure was when I said to myself, I forgive you them. Because it was multiple. So I forgive them. And I'm going to move on and make my life better. And I'm going to learn from the situation. That was all the closure I needed. That was it. To know that I've gotten to a place to where I can forgive them and move forward. I didn't need this. I don't need them to know how I felt, how what was done to me. I don't need. They, like Kevin said, they know, and if they don't know, that's an issue up there that they got to deal with.
That's a them problem.
It's a them problem. But for me to move on and be more successful and to be healthy emotionally and mentally, when I forgave, I was on the right track. I was ready. I was ripping and ready to go. But I by wanting to purge, when the opportunity came to, oh, you finna get this work, I opened up that wound again. And so I don't. I'm with Kevin. I'm not sure closure is necessarily needed. I think it could be
And I was
wanted, but not everything that's wanted is needed.
and I
Because
but
I think that
I was
I think
gonna say in your whole time talking, I was gonna say, listen how Keith switched from needed to wanted. It went
mm-hmm,
from needed to wanted, right?
yeah.
Those two words get tricky.
And after I first did, I felt good about it. Woo, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then afterwards, I started thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it, and it became more detrimental than it was healing. Closure should be healing, but that's not what that was. That was trauma again. If I could say that, it was reliving trauma. And so I think we got to be careful with wanting closure. Um, we got to be careful with that, because we got to understand that when it's time for us to move forward, let's move. Um, and I was just thinking about this, kid. What if like people that did stuff for us and that we heard in the past needed closure? Everybody be wanting closure from everybody, right? Jesus be one, but on the cross asking for closure. Like, why am I dying? Like, this is what look what y'all did to me. Um, so I think you have to be careful, even with the guy on the cross who said, I sin. Jesus said, "You're gonna be with me today. You'll be with me in paradise." He said, "Man, I'm doing this because of you." Like like it. We have to be careful of our wants and stop turning our wants into needs, because I didn't need that. I was in the happiest place in my life in a long time, and for that one day, for that one need, it encompassed my mind. And so I just want to say that be careful of turning your wants into needs, and that you make sure you do everything you do protect your mental and strategic. What I did was not strategic, and I think it backfired. The closure backfired on me.
Yeah, yeah. It goes back to our saying, man. Like, I mean, we got on the shirt, so I don't know how more we can really say this thing, but it's some of y'all literally right now listening to this that are still angry at y'all baby mamas, y'all baby daddies, your
Yeah.
aunts, uncles, friends, cousins, brothers, sisters. Some of y'all sitting right now, I'm gonna get them back. I can't wait till I see them. Some of y'all carrying around this energy, this negativity, this weight for people that probably ain't even thinking about you,
Mm-hmm.
that are moving on and doing things without this burden, that a burden that you want them to be carrying, that you're carrying for them. Let it
Mm-hmm.
go. Lighten up the load. Like, you don't need it, right? And I want to get a little bit spiritual since you did a little bit. When we um when we have breakups, some of us feel like most of us feel this emptiness or this anger or this void because something's been removed. And I just want to say, you know why you feel that? Because the void you were looking to be filled should never been filled by that person. It's like putting a square peg into a round hole, or drop a penny into a bottomless pit. It was never meant to fill that space. So that's why that's why the relationship didn't work for one, and when they leave, you still feel this void and this negativity and this emptiness because you try to have someone or someone else fill the space that they couldn't fill, that they're not big enough to fill, that it wasn't their position to fill. Some people do have positions in your life to fill, but that void that you feel is because of that. Fill that void with the right thing, and we all know what that right thing is, right? It's the love of God. Sometimes we forget that that's the thing we need to feel complete, man. And I promise you, like if you get things in order and see things for what they were, you'll see that closure isn't important. Mm-hmm. You'll see that no matter what the situation is, if you're favored, things are going to happen how they're supposed to happen. I don't need to come back and tell you did this to me. I think God got something better for me on the other side of the door. So I'm not going to waste time with this closure and thinking about this stuff for you. Now, if you want those type of people that you want to get closure and you just need to say it, to each be his own. Do you? I want you to tell us how you feel after you get that closure. Tell me what changed. Are y'all back together? Probably not. Did those situations?
Did that person receive it?
Yeah. Were those past things fixed? It's impossible because they're in the past. Can't really fix it. What value did you get from telling them? Did they get angry? Did you make them feel bad about themselves? Mm-hmm. Did you feel better about yourself? How long did you feel better about yourself? Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, this is another one because you mentioned this too. How long did you think about it after you did it?
Yep.
Something that now this is on your mind. Like, how long did you think about it? When you can think about your next business venture, the next person you're gonna fall in love with, how to move into the next stage of your life. But you spent all this time thinking about something that technically, realistically, doesn't even matter.
Nope.
I'm gonna stand my ground on this. You don't need closure. What you need is to protect your peace and move forward. It's that simple.
Because the truth
I'm not saying it's simple. It's not simple, but go ahead.
But it also, you make an assumption through the closure that you're going to change that person's mind. The only thing that can change that person's mind is them. I can share them all the details, show them video. I can do whatever. But the only thing that's going to change that person's mind is their want to change it, to see what happened, to see their involvement, to see their whatever they did wrong. Your attempt to get closure doesn't change their whether they're going to do that or not. That's just intrinsically in a person, right? It's a choice. It's a choice that they make with them, and there's not necessarily you purging or you getting closure. That doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to change their thoughts or their behavior. So the only person you can control is you. That's it.
Think of it this way. Think of it this way. I'm gonna leave it alone after this. Think of it this way. It's a train on a track, right? And you see a sign that this track ends in 1 mile. Yeah, you keep going on that track. Because you want closure. It's already closed. It's already ended. It's closed. But you just think, if I get there, I can. It's already closed. They've already closed the door. They already ended the track. But you still want to ride on it. You better get off that train and hop onto another train. That track's closed. You waste your time riding down this track to get to the end, and then what?
You're damaging your own mental health. You're damaging your own a lot of times. That's why I felt after my situation, I was damaging my own mental health, and I was like, enough.
So, yeah, you might disagree with this closure thing. You may not. If you don't, that's fine. We'd love to hear why you don't. We'll love to hear why you do. But that's just where I personally stand on it wholeheartedly, because I value my life. I value time. We don't have much time on this earth, so I'm not going to spend time anymore wanting closure.
And this last thing I'm gonna say on it too, Kev, is don't get closure with the person, place, or thing. Get closure with yourself.
With yourself.
You can get closure. Make sure it's with yourself, but not you don't have necessarily get. I don't think I'm now. You got me a firm believer that I don't necessarily have to get closure with who him, it or what or him or who or her. I just need to be close to myself. As long as I'm protected here and my peace protected, that's what matters.
That's all. That's it. That's all. That's it. That's all.
Yes, sir.
And that's coming from the genius, Kev G.
You sure know how to ruin a good discussion. That's why you didn't know why they call pirates pirates.
Bro, that was trash. That actually got me.
They just are.
You gonna repeat it? Oh man, yeah, man. Once again, man, TuVues, man. We keep telling y'all this. We love hearing from y'all, man. So hey, comments, holler at us, messages, man. We on social media platforms, man. You comment under the video. We're gonna be posting more things about our topics and what like questions about our topic, so you can start seeing what we're gonna talk about and the questions we're gonna be asking ourselves through the topic. Like we just did a closure post, right? So man, communicate with us, man. We love doing this. We love interacting with people. We love talking these topics, man. It's fun. You know what I mean? Y'all get TuVues.
Yeah. And if you got a topic idea, shoot it to us. Shoot us this topic idea. We'd love to hear it.
Anything respectable. You know what I mean? Don't send us no junk. But
don't send us no junk.
Something we can dive into and find meat in it. You know what I mean? We like to eat. We want to find meat in it. You know what I mean? All right, man. That's TuVues, man. Kev G, the genius. Dr. Davis, the not so genius. TuVues.
We out, man.
Here, man.